Mary
This
Fran.
meeting is being
Woo!
recorded.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
All right, let me see if I can figure out. Hold on. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well.
It's,
So nice to see you.
I know. I'm
I
like,
like
whoop,
those
whoop.
glasses.
Oh, I'm so used to wearing them now that I forget about them. Old
Yeah,
age. Sorry.
yes. Got some myself. I got these blue blockers.
Oh yeah. So you got them too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So
oh my
how
God.
you doing? You gotta. We've so much to catch up on, but like, what's going on?
I know. I know. Not much. Yeah, kids are good. Paul's good. I just came back from Florida. We went down to Florida. I didn't see your parents, but my dad's doing great down there. He's having fun.
Yeah, awesome.
So
Golfing a
that
lot still, or?
he's golfing. I mean, he's slow. I don't. When was the last time you saw him? He's kind of like the. He's like
Right, right, right. He's
it
so good.
drives your dad crazy.
I really want to have a chat with him. He's a little bit reluctant. We'll get to that later, but
Yeah, oh,
I just
yeah,
think he's such an awesome guy. I just love Frank, Uncle Frank.
yeah. He has a good. I'm sure he would have a good perspective in his. It'd be interesting to hear from him.
You know, it's kind of interesting what he said, and I'm almost certain he wouldn't mind me sharing what he said, but he basically, this project is so interesting because I'm finding that a lot of people that I consider to be leaders don't think that they're
Right.
leaders.
Yeah, it's true. I was thinking about that. I'm like, I don't know why he would. I mean, I get it. I'm in a leadership role, but I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever.
So this
Whatever.
is the thing. This is the why I think this whole thing is so special and so cool.
Yeah.
Is that if I get a ton of people together that think that way, and I'm solving for one thing, which is character,
Uh-huh.
and I talk to every level of society from every kind of background you can imagine,
Yeah.
and that when they share their story and have that kind of common feature, common um, attribute of character, it's going to make for a very special thing. I can't believe no one's done this because I think it's brilliant. If I
I
don't
feel
say
like
so
you should be
myself.
doing, it's almost like a PhD thing that you could, you know what I mean? Like a dissertation that you got going.
I think it's going to be bigger than that.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
really,
I really think this is going to be bigger than that.
it's like this whole thing. This is amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
it's so great.
I was flattered. I was like, I don't know, I guess so. And so I told, I'll tell you about my situation at school, but I told the other AP, the assistant principal that I work with, and he's like, "Yeah, you got to do it." And I'm like, I guess I don't know. He's like, "Get out of here!
Yeah.
You got to go home." I'm like, okay.
No,
Uh,
I love that. I love that. And like I immediately thought of you and I reached out to Martha too, and I actually want to chat with Jenny. I haven't reached out yet, but like all of you guys are to me quiet leaders. Even in the example of your dad, he thought he didn't fit the bill because he didn't think that he's had this kind of creative, more entrepreneurial experience that was kind of like not what he calls the prescribed path. I was
right.
like, that's not.
Oh, you're
I
looking.
don't want things to come across as like that's the way I see either leadership or interesting stories. It's like
Yeah,
no, the way you went about your career, your family,
yeah.
your clinical work, your investigating our family history in Italy and
Right,
being.
right,
He's
right.
got so many interesting things. So it's like I'll tell you why you should be on the podcast because like look at your family.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm sure he loved that. That's good. Well, I'll tell him he needs to be. It will give him a little something to think about. That's for sure.
If you're up for it, we can share this video with him.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not
for
recording
sure.
it.
Oh, that's
We
right. We're not
should.
recording. Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
Frank, we're Uncle Frank. We're speaking to you. I'm talking to your daughter.
Pop, get on this.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, yeah, no, I'm excited. It's I have to tell you, I'm on the like downside of, work, but
How do you mean?
well, I want to. I'm about two years. I'm 2 years from retiring, so
Okay.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
are you? Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
you've been in this public school system for
a lot.
decades,
30 years, yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I started when I was 22.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's some good stuff. I mean, there's some good stuff in education, but there's some hard stuff too, you know.
Mm. Yeah, and I
Uh,
want to explore a lot of that with you because getting the insights from boots on the ground, so to speak, is like really important.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean,
Going back to like the inspiration for this, maybe I'll just kind of orient us in why I'm doing this.
yeah.
So, I became an executive coach last year, decided to take that seriously, get certified, found a terrific organization to help me with that, and continuing education, because you never can be a finished coach. Like, you're always kind of learning. It's been a really awesome experience. And, the Latitude is my company that is in part a response to my own experience as an entrepreneur, where I felt like I always had coaches,
Yeah.
but none of them had been in the shoes that I was in,
Hmm.
as the CEO, as the founder, as an executive, that with like all the responsibility of it all.
Right.
And I really could, not just me, but many of my partners and different types of people that have been involved, pretty much across the board, could always have benefited from a great executive coach. Always. Like, there's so many dimensions. And it's not just fixing things, it could be proactive too.
Yeah.
So, because like when companies grow, they get stressed and they kind of like grind, and you get the growing pains and stuff. And so part of it is response to that. This whole thing feels so aligned for me because my last project was very hard. You remember, you were a
Yeah.
customer for
Yeah.
Validate. Very, very
Yeah.
hard. A beautiful project, like great. And I've had this dangerous idea recently of rebooting it in some way, which I don't want it to become a distraction, but we still feed our dogs like the supplement that we made that you haven't tried yet, but it's great. And
Yeah.
so I got pretty burnt out in that project because we launched during the pandemic, 3.5 years in. It was just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
brought in a new founder. I was just on my last leg. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, I got way overinvested, 6 times more capital and probably 100 times more time than not time. The time part I knew, but the just like taking over responsibility for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, so in any case, I was picking myself back up after that, and I started doing all kinds of new things: improv, pottery, playing my sax from growing up.
Patrick, you
You
were
know,
a good musician, that's for sure.
I don't know about that, but I'm going to be. And mark my words,
Don't
my
keep that
goal is,
up.
there's this little neighborhood band, two doors down. They play every
Yeah.
Thursday night. One of my goals is to be able to play with them. And so I take these
Father would be very proud.
I'm going to practice tonight because I got to get back in I have had a little bit of a break. I sent my sax in for maintenance, and like that literally disrupted my habit. So all this stuff was great. I started doing improv.
Oh,
Improv was life changing.
I'm sure it was. I don't even know how you could do it.
It's the most fun thing I've ever done, and I'm going to insist that you do it sometime. Next time you're in LA, I'll bring you to, or we can do it in Boston. I'm sure there's great places there, but this little studio called Improv for the People they're doing God's work in there. I mean, it's not just for actors. It's not just for um, comedians that are looking to kind of hone their craft. There's some of that, but not most of it is not that. It's people
Yeah.
like you and I that want to get re-energized. They want to feel like they can kind of like leave their ego at the door and just be a different thing for a little while. And what's so great about it is there's nothing you can do in improv that doesn't work except for hurting someone.
Right. Of course.
So long as you don't physically hurt someone, which I've never seen to this day,
Yeah.
because the pros will work with whatever you say,
Right.
and
Right.
the new first timers as well. And so it's this goofy, fluid, kind of like creative expression that's like unlike anything I've ever done. And I learned that the owner of it is going to be on the podcast because he's remarkable, and he's got some incredible stories of how improv has changed not just the world locally, but like he was sent overseas, third world countries, to use improv as a way to heal like tribal tensions. And
Mm.
it was so successful that the U.S. ambassador to the United for that country, it was like Brunei or one of those countries. I should know what it is, and I will find out. But it's a small country and thousands of miles away. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Um, the charity invited him to come in and help this kind of like tribal the factions that were basically becoming unmanageable. And that's the same kind of thing you can observe, or we've all observed, not just locally, but like in Israel and Palestine, Russia and Ukraine, and Sudan, Egypt, like so many elements of our modern culture, and frankly human culture, has included these kind of tribal tensions, and the stories that like the sins of our fathers get passed down, and like the trauma that then expresses itself, and kind of people having a scarcity mindset and this kind of thing. And he was talking about how he was able to connect with the children from those 3 tribes, and it was so successful. The exercise he did, I'm not going to share now because I almost want to wait until he tells it, because he started crying when he told me it, and I was like,
Sure, it's me. Yeah.
it's incredible. And he's like, I believe improv can heal the world, and the arts can heal the world,
Mhm.
and I think he's right.
Yeah.
We have some versions of some of that, like let's say the Olympics. I actually think the Olympics is good, but it actually pits all of us against each other, including the Olympians within one team.
Right.
So that's not the way. The way is different, which is like you get people from every walk of life to have a chance to tell their story and be heard,
Right.
and basically say their piece. And then they are willing, if they're willing then to do that for someone else, I think almost any problem can get resolved.
Yeah.
Because it's like we're now entering a period of abundance and technology and like incredible amount of growth that's going to be coming in different ways, but a lot of change is coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to a lot of people these days about all these different projects going around the world, and it just struck me, back to the quiet leaders thing, the inspiration for it. It actually is kind of I'm nestling it under the umbrella of the Latitude, but it's its
Mhm.
own thing. And it's mission driven, and it's not trying to make money. And there may be a business model that ends up working for everyone, but I haven't figured that out yet. So there could be mission aligned advertisers, there could be any number of things. But one of the things I want to do is make it like a B Corp potentially.
Mhm.
So you put it in the charter of what this is, that anyone who gets involved knows that, like, if there's like, let's say an endowment, that the endowment gives scholarships and grants and some element of like the what's called like SG&A, selling general administrative expenses that like would be required to like put the show on, for example. But
Yeah.
the programming on is another part of it, which we'll talk about in a second. But in any case, all this got inspired on a recent trip to Connecticut when I was texting you about coming up
I
to see
just
you.
saw those pictures.
Yeah, it was so fun. I mean,
Oh, amazing.
there's a lot of pictures, and I was actually just
I have to
looking
go
forward to
back.
about
I have to like put them into like little pockets. I don't know. I got to figure that all out.
which pictures did I send you, by the way?
Oh, there was a whole bunch. Oh,
I texted too many people too much
well,
stuff.
no, I think yeah, there's just, yeah, any of us when we were little, those were so cute. When you get
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, yeah, you're talking
when
about your family
Pop
stuff.
and
Yeah,
Nanny are in all of the
yeah.
pictures.
How sweet are those?
They're the best. They are the
I have a
best.
lot more where that came from. While I was in Florida this past weekend,
Yeah.
so I just missed you, I guess. I was really excited to go to my parents' like storage unit or whatever, and like we carried like 10 boxes of like memorabilia from growing up.
Yep.
And a lot of it's not digitized yet, but my mom started digitizing like the old VHS stuff that has been a lot of
Yep.
fun to watch. Wait till you see the go-kart video I'm going to send you. It's this, people are
Yeah.
like, it's the cutest thing I've seen in my life.
It is the cutest thing. It was the cutest
Did I
thing.
send it to you?
No, but I remember you in that go-kart.
Okay, I'm going to make a note to send it to you. It's like the sweetest thing.
Oh yeah, that was like the best. We used to hear about it and see the pictures.
Yeah.
Ah,
And it was like the most fun thing you could ever do. And
yeah,
occasionally I'll do that in LA actually, because I just love it.
yeah.
I got my helmet here.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, you got the legit.
Superman, Patrick, let's go. I don't know what this thing is doing here.
Oh my God.
Take that thing off because we got the paint.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
WKA, World Karting Association. I was so into it. It was so fun. But
Oh,
in any case, okay, so going through the old memorabilia, that was a lot of fun. Something I've always done, I'm not sure if you do this or if your kids do it, but and by your kids, I mean Paul and Carmen, which I
yeah,
want to get an update on as well. I keep a lot of like archives, like not in a hoardery way, but in a way that's like special things to me. Like my office right now has tons of little things like go-karting pictures, little art
right,
things I did growing up. I just love that. My dad used to do that too.
exactly.
And so I keep like report cards and essays and like these little things. And so all that's becoming part of the story behind what I'm about to share. So when we went to Connecticut, we stayed with Rose. We had a great time, saw everyone there.
Yeah.
And I basically was on a long overdue tour of old friends.
Yeah, it's so great that you did
You know,
that.
the gunnery, which is now
Yeah.
they call it the Frederick Gun School. And we stayed at the Mayflower, which I've never stayed there. I've drove by it all my life, but Never stayed there, and it was like so awesome. It's like a stone's throw from campus.
Yeah.
And we're in Washington, Connecticut, and I had reached out to a bunch of people that I knew still there, that are teachers, administrators, heads of school. And I
Mhm.
met with all of them, and they scheduled like a full day, one Friday. I spent the entire day sitting in the class, and
Oh, that's so good.
yeah, and it really energized me and inspired me because the school has moved in a direction that is, I think, way, what's the right way to say this? The school when I was there was more traditional,
Right.
kind of like the prep school way. And I
Right.
think now one of the reasons they renamed the school is because they doubled down on the founder story from the 1850s. His name is Frederick Gunn. He was
Right.
one of the first abolitionists in the country. He was a very interesting kind of pioneer in many ways. They gave me like a book that students wrote about having been taught and mentored by him. It's like a
Mhm.
compilation of essays. So I was like reading all this stuff and getting, immersing myself in the environment, and then also walking around campus. And I was like, they put about $100 million of incredible buildings on campus.
Yeah.
When I was there, they did not have that. Like there's some prep schools that always did, but Gunnery had some buildings that were really beautiful, but a few that were an eyesore for sure.
I think
And
Paul toured it, and he said it was beautiful. I think Paul toured it. Yeah,
what
he
year?
did.
What year would it have been?
So it was his PG year, so it was like 2016, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think that was the beginning of the transformation. So I don't think the kinds of things I saw were there at the time, but we were walking around campus. They put $100 million in new buildings on campus.
Mm.
Um, Huge donations from big family, you know, the Tisch family, and
Oh, that's right. That's the Tisch family.
yeah, and I don't know the dollar amount, but I'm sure it's public somewhere, maybe. But I'll just tell you by guesstimating, they probably put $30 million in this new science center.
I'm sure.
And it's
Yeah.
not just science, it's entrepreneurship, it's civic engagement, robotics and engineering,
Right.
and the social spaces.
Right.
And they have like so that's world class in my opinion. Per square foot, it's world class. At the
Right.
high school level,
I'm
show
sure.
me something better than that.
Yeah.
Um, the Creative Arts Center is unbelievable, world class for sure. I should know the donors there, but another very wealthy family that cares about the school and all that stuff. And we're walking around, and I'm like astounded. I'm like, this is incredible. I was like, this is education. Um, because I had been that story of my mentor's son Tucker, who went there. I
Mm-hmm.
knew we had that in common, and I knew we talked a lot about how lucky we are to have had that experience, because like in Connecticut as well, I went down the road to my friends went to Pomperaug and Nanawag and other places like that, and they're still amazing people, but they are within 10-mile radius of where they grew up, and they haven't left.
Right.
And so like I'm reflecting on all of this, and then I think the icing on the cake was that Georgie was with me,
Yeah.
and she's gonna say hi at the end, by the way. She'll pop in. And Georgie went to Oxford,
Oh, wow.
University of Oxford. So she had a master's at Oxford,
Right.
finished top of her class, got a scholarship to start her PhD. She had undergrad. She went to in Europe, it's, maybe even in the world, it's one of the best art schools in the world, but it's art focused. So it's called the Courthold School. I think it's Courthold School of Art or something like that.
Mhm.
And she had like the #1 best dissertation. So you get the sense that like obviously I've always known that she's very smart and
Yes.
worked her way up through kind of like incredible institutions that have thousands of years. Oxford is 1,000 years old. And we're walking around my high school in Little Washington, Connecticut, where there's no cell phone service. And
Right.
she's like, I had nothing like this. And it
Okay.
just dawned on me. I was like, I knew it was weird then, but I know even more now how rare it is that we had that experience, and that my parents passed, just like you do for Paul and Carmen.
Yep.
You
Yep.
pass the baton as far as you can.
Yep.
And that, in my case, was really centered around education. My mom went to bat for that from day one.
Yep.
Public school, kindergarten, and then grade school, all St. Margaret's. St. Margaret's was like an anchor for the community that within maybe 30 miles of Waterbury, Connecticut, where we had to drive 20 minutes away, and it was
Right.
obviously expensive starting in kindergarten.
Right.
but it was unbelievable people, like incredible teachers, incredible people. To this day, I'm friends with many, many, many of them.
Yeah.
And that was rare too. And that led to the gunnery, and that led to Richmond. And in Richmond, I had an incredible experience, and I was lucky enough to uh, be accepted into like the leadership school that they
Yeah.
have there, which is the first one in the country.
Yeah.
And you have to apply to get in. And it's a small program, like 100 students or something. But other schools have used that school as a model for leadership stuff. And the thing I say about it is that I think what I expected about leadership going in is not what I came out with. I thought it would have been more of a top down kind of like, you know, military like kind of authority making thing, but it definitely was not that.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like the human stuff. It's studying the leaders and history and economics and culture and philosophy and religion, creativity and like it all. So I love that because that's the kind of thing I like, synthesizing all those things. So in any case, that's the project. There's a lot more to say that is very exciting, but this conversation is meant to be about you. So
Well, no, it's good to hear about where, yeah, how you how this all comes to pass, you know, that it's clear that you're passionate about it. I think it's an amazing, it's so interesting. It is interesting. It's interesting to talk to people who are in leadership roles and, you know, see what drives them and really figure out why they're so successful. You know, so there are some incredible leaders. I think there's some not incredible leaders, some horrible leaders, right? We all know that, or I should say misguided or whatever, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy. I do love to share development, you know, professional development. I love to promote leadership. I've mentored a lot of young educators along the way, and I did it at the, you know, graduate level, the undergraduate level, postgraduate level. I worked at BC. You know,
I didn't know that. Yeah, so I got to hear your whole story because I actually don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really not that interesting. But
no, see, I'm gonna jump in and
it's your typical
my show. My show, and I'm gonna demand that we admit that's still amazing. It is amazing, and it's like we need more people doing the thing that you did, because you could have done any number of things, just like Frank could have, and Martha could have, and Jenny could have, and that, you know, I could have stayed on Wall Street.
That's right. So,
no, but it's the bigger thing behind the mission that you're on that is the thing that I think is interesting, and the character thing.
Yes, and I think along the way at some point, I mean, I can for sure say that education, you know, I thought I was in it and, you know, teaching and little kids, and it was all fun and easy and everything, and then you just at some point it was, for me, it was like, oh, I just want a little bit more. It just wasn't like, and I think really that's what, otherwise I think I would have left, because I ended up getting into Boston public schools as opposed to the suburbs. You know, I was out in the suburbs for about 8 years when I originally started teaching. And after I had Carmen, I was home for 2 years, but I got into BC, like I was their practicum supervisor in the graduate program.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah. So, which was really fun. I mean, it was, you know, no money, but it was just, I mean, a couple days a week, and I just had a, you know, supervisory role in different schools, and took, you know, graduate and undergraduate students through practitionary programs, and it was great. It was really a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that, and I learned a lot about how to do that. And I mean, because I was young too, really, I was 30 really when I was doing.
You still are young.
Well, no, not so much anymore these days. But
what are you talking about? You look like you're 35.
Oh God, no.
I'm being serious.
No.
Maybe 32. I think that's a better number for you.
There you go. That's a good number. So then, what happened? Yeah. So I was in in this graduate role or whatever, supervision role, and one of the women who worked with me had said, "Oh, would you really consider going back to teaching?" Because at that point I was like, with the 2 kids at home, I was like, forget it. I don't want to go back to work. I told Paul, what do I, and, you know, Paul's like, you need to go back to work.
Got bills to pay here.
Oh yeah. He's like, you can't hang around here anymore. It's too much. So, So I knew I had to go back to work, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. At any rate, I got into Boston Public Schools, and I think it was sort of a turning point for me. Paul's family all was in Boston Public Schools, and they were two of the aunts were administrators, and then Mrs. McAuliffe was
Mm,
teacher forever, special education teacher.
mm.
And so they were like, "Yes, she's going to Boston."
Love that.
Yeah, they were so excited for me. I can remember that
So,
day. Yeah,
so
they were.
one thing I'm gonna do on this project that I think you'll like, and it just that jogged my thought. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna everyone that comes in I'm gonna ask them if they could share this project with 3 people, at least 3 people. So
Yeah.
like I want my heroes to kind of pass it on to their heroes, and like if like the I don't know how many of those there are for you. I imagine there are many, but to the extent any of them want to engage with any of this, like I want to chat with them because like they are heroes. It's like
Yeah,
they made you and they made me and they make the world a
absolutely.
better place. So it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, there are definitely folks along the way. And I was thinking about that today. I was like, who else would be good for this kind of thing? So I'll tell you, I do have a couple, maybe 2 recommendations for this because I was thinking about it. Um, yeah, so I started teaching 5th grade in Boston Public Schools. I was, down the street in Brighton, which was, it's 10 miles, but 100,000 miles in, a different scene. So
Mm,
um, it's hard. It's a very different world. Urban education is a very different world. And so it takes
mm,
a lot of time to figure it out.
mm.
But after my first year, I remember the principal, she said, well, I only have this job, the science job left, because I
Right.
was a ELA teacher for 5th grade. And I said, oh, I could do that. Meanwhile, I was the worst in science. Couldn't believe I even uttered the words, sure. And I took this test and I had to pass, all the little state tests and stuff like that. And because I wanted to keep the job and I really loved the school, loved the team.
Mm.
I loved being a part of that team. And mostly it was about the kids. I mean, the kids were
Mm.
insane. The kids were
Right.
like
Yeah.
completely nuts. And I had never seen anything like it before. I grew up in upstate New York, went
Yeah.
to state schools, private schools, did I was like, what? What does a 5th grader do? I mean, they were
Yeah.
swearing, they were smoking pot in the bathrooms, and I was like,
Wow.
this is crazy. But
Right.
I loved it. I really did. I loved it. I loved working with the kids, and it just kind of, as you say, reignited why I loved it. And so
Mm,
I stayed with it, and knew that I kind of wanted to stay in a leadership role, and took little, advantage of, little leadership opportunities in the school, and then started moving in the district. And I went back
mm,
for I did a master's program, and took me forever to get a job, but when it landed, and it landed right in my own school. It's just amazing how if you just
mm,
continue to be, you
mm.
never give it up. You just
That's the
keep.
Tucker story. You bang down the door. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I probably went on, I bet you over 5 years, 80 interviews. I mean, I was
Wow.
finalist, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times. I was in front of school boards. I was, here, there, and everywhere. And I would always be like, oh, you're the finalist, but not the one that we.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so that perseverance taught me a lot too. I mean, that
Mm,
taught me a lot. And I think if that's another thing I would share with future leaders is that it's not easy.
mm,
It's not always like, oh, here's your leadership role, take off. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I've been an assistant principal since I moved to a different, our school closed down that I was at for a long time. And so I became a special ed director down in Dorchester, which is another, like, beyond Southie. I don't know if you know where
okay.
Southie is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another
I got to get to Boston. It's been too long, but
you've got to get here because
I'm gonna come soon. Maybe like I honestly think as I said, maybe we do this in person. I'll come see you, and I actually think like in your school might be a cool thing to
oh
do.
my God, you got to see it.
Would
I
that
mean,
be fun? I'm gonna bring a film crew.
don't
I'll
bring the
bring
whole crew. I mean, and plus I work with, it's an inclusion school. So
mm,
it's a model school actually in Boston. It's one of the first inclusive schools. So the
What does that
whole
mean for you guys? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're about to
so
say.
so special education now, like Boston Public Schools and a lot of other programs around the state are moving to all inclusive schools. So if
Mm,
you have executive functioning, if you have dyslexia, if you have language challenges, all those things, sort of in the old days, it used to be pull out, so you would be serviced out of the classroom.
mm,
Now all of those services are delivered in the classroom,
mm,
so that it's sort of
mm,
the idea is that you're learning from your peers,
mm.
the peers learn from you,
Love
um,
that.
the whole inclusivity model.
That's great.
Yeah, it is. And it was something different from, again, the suburbs. But I've always worked with special education students in some capacity.
Mm,
And I love it. I mean, I have to say, I love the kids. I mean, it's wild, Pat, every day.
I
I mean,
believe it.
yeah, it's a lot. And I'm now the, they're called directors for the middle school.
Yeah. Okay.
And so yeah, I mean, I'm like the, the wicked witch that runs around and chases the kids. And,
Yeah.
uh, my theory is more progressive discipline and trying to be proactive about it. But I love it. And I love sharing my stories with other
Mm,
educators who are looking into that type of role. So, you either love it or hate it. That's for sure. I will say that.
yeah. Yeah. And I know there's a lot there. Thanks for sharing all that because I think there's so many juicy topics to dig into, and I'm gonna have a lot of questions. By the way, I don't want to that questionnaire. I'm getting feedback is way too many questions. I gotta strip it
Well,
down.
I actually printed it because I was like, all right, let me think about it. And I, of
Yeah.
course, yesterday, so I haven't had that. But there's some really good questions.
Oh, good. And if you, I hope there's a question about if I missed a good question that you want to talk about something. Basically, I'm just trying to suss out. It's meant to be just
Yeah,
brainstorm. You can write down 3 words on the thing or no
yeah.
word.
So so I make a copy of it, share with you, Google Doc, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
okay.
If you want, I can. I mean, now that you already printed it, you might as well, I guess, work with it. But I just want to make it clear, it's not. I do not want you to wait, spend your whole weekend or
Oh,
something.
no. I'll put some thoughts down on it. I haven't done that yet, but I will.
Cool.
I printed it just because I wanted to look over the.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I print everything. A lot of things. Too much probably. So yeah, I have a lot of questions and I want to explore so many elements of your experience. Um, but I
Well,
guess the first thing would be to ask, why did you become a teacher in the first place? And you mentioned your inspiration of Paul's parents, but like what was
you
there
know,
like when was the first time you thought to yourself, I want to be a teacher?
people ask, we get asked that question all the time.
Yeah.
Who inspired you to become a teacher? And I did have really positive teaching experiences as a kid, obviously. We had some great teachers along the way. I loved my elementary school principal. I loved her. She was just a great role model. She was a teacher and then, sure, all that maybe. But when I got to school, I wasn't thinking about being in education at all. I
Hmm.
thought I'd go into social work and I was like, oh, I want
Oh
to be.
wow.
I was kind of on this whole, I don't know, maybe it was the times. There was a lot of that. There was the Peace Corps was coming, still in
Yep.
big, and, traveling and, I don't know. And I thought,
Tucker's
oh,
brother's in Peace Corps. So like
right,
it all connects. And you were at American University, right?
Catholic, which was
Oh,
down.
Catholic. Sorry, Catholic. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Catholic. And so, they were big about service and, I mean, the truth be told, I was like having fun.
Yeah, yeah, of course. You gotta let it rip.
Education was the last of
Yeah,
my
I have a hard time believing you had fun in college. Oh,
I,
and Paul, I can't imagine Paul having
exactly.
fun
And,
time in college.
it's just no secret that the two of us ended up together along the way because we were
You
both
guys are
kind
the most perfect couple ever made. It's like, well, I was with my parents, we were pulling up these old videos, and I think I pulled up the this like incredible. I might even call it blackmail with
well,
Paul in Jamaica.
I'm
It's
sure.
it's incredible. He was having the most fun out of anyone there, and I
Oh,
was
that's
having a
Johnny's
blast.
wedding. Yeah, yeah, that's probably not. Uh,
I'll send you that video offline if you want. But anyway, they're so fun. It's like those memories are incredible. And I
yeah,
actually believe that I tell people I coach, it's like you can work hard and party hard, and you can have both.
like work hard, play hard. That's what I say to the kids. Work hard and you play hard. Work hard, Carmen. and get to play hard on the weekend.
Yeah.
Paul bought into it a little quicker than Carmen did, but
You know who taught me that lesson?
Nanny?
No, it's not a human.
Oh,
My
the dog.
pet.
I was just
And the
gonna
cats.
yeah, yeah.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna see if I can bring a prop.
Speaking of which, where are you, Maggie? Maggie, what are you doing?
This little angel.
Well, you've got cats too?
Yeah, we have 2 cats, and I've never been a cat guy. I always say that, but
Hey.
this girl is the apple of my eye. I love her so much. And the thing is, I just woke up from a nap, so she's already pissed.
Yeah, she's
But
already.
but the thing is that Georgie and I talk about it all the time. First of all, for Georgie, she's a role model as her spirit animal in a little way, which is like I say this to a lot of people. I'm starting to sound like a broken record about it. Cats are the most, are like cats and dogs, but
Yeah.
we'll focus on cats for a second. They have got life figured out. They really do. They will sleep a lot when they're tired.
Right.
In the sun in a cozy thing, cuddle with her brothers, the other cat that we have. They're really sweet together. They play very hard when they want to.
Right.
They're very adventurous. They can be fierce with each other, but also with other things. Right. If you're a rival cat in our neighborhood and her brother doesn't like you, like he'll let you know. But it's all very sweet though. And then like one time they play outside and they like the back garden is enclosed, so we feel good about that. But they find their way to the front garden, which is not enclosed. Yeah. So they go to the neighbor's house and go into the house and stuff. And like one night, when that happens, like we have all these tricks to get them back in. We play cat sounds and put the food out, whatever, and they usually come back. They always come back. And touch wood. And one night Georgie had to do something at work late, and we couldn't. The cats were not home, and she gets very anxious about it because there's like some people sometimes speed in our neighborhood, and you never know what can happen. So she gets nervous, and I was like, I'm here. The door's open. I got the food. They'll be back. Like you go to your work thing and whatever. And then maybe like 30 minutes later, they both come running through the front door with a huge rat in them. And I was like, if Max drops the rat and we have a rat in our house, like,
get it.
I guess we have 2 cats that will help get him out, but still. So in any case, there's this guy called Naval Ravikant who's kind of like a philosopher king in Silicon Valley, and he talks about something I think is right, which is like we have to learn to work. Like it's not just learn, it's relearn or discover the fact that our nature is not to work all day at a screen. It's to work like a lion and rest like a lion and play like a lion. Yeah. Which is why I have a lion behind me that
I see the lion. I could see it. Yeah.
I made that in middle school.
There you go. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so fun.
Oh my God.
So back to you. So you had these great teachers, but like what was the thing that at some point was the kind of like a turning point? Either it was a conversation, a moment, a day, a gut feeling.
Yeah, no, I graduated from school and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and back and forth. I went to Europe. I went to London with 2 of my high school friends, and I wanted to go see the world and work abroad and the work visa and all that malarkey that I never did.
Yeah.
And I think I made it 3 months, and I feel like your parents. I think my dad was with you guys, or I don't know, somehow or another, for Thanksgiving. I called on Thanksgiving, and I was at like McDonald's in Portugal or something. I was like,
nice.
There is no way I'm staying here, Dad. I am coming home.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And so I got home, and right before Christmas, my mother and Nanny and Pop were like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. I guess I'll go back to school." And so I had always worked with kids in camps and things like that, and I was like, I'll give education a try. And so that's what I did. I went back to school. I had some really good, program that I got into down there. And yeah, I mean, I was young when I started teaching. I was like 20. I had just turned, 22, I guess. I was 22.
Baptism of fire, would you say? In a way?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I mean, they were kids, and I'm like, what? How do you teach them?
Huh.
What? Like
Yeah,
what? You're
yeah,
responsible for
yeah,
20.
yeah, totally. I can only
It's
imagine
different in the summer. It's fun, and there's no
herding
accountability.
cats.
Yeah,
Speaking of
it's all
cats,
good.
right?
But when you start thinking about actually education wise, what responsibility you have for them, and then
Mm,
I think for me, you just staying in teaching was about supporting kids, and
mm,
I it's just sort of I don't know, it's something that you either want to do or you don't, and it's interesting, the old, like, what do kids come to school with in their backpack? It's not just what they
mm.
have in their backpack, it's all the emotional baggage they have every
The
day,
family dynamics,
all the family,
the neighborhood, the
and so I loved all that, and I loved kind of being a part of that, and then being able to share it with colleagues and teachers, and it was a good fit for me. So
mm,
it wasn't one big moment for me. It was really just um, understanding what an amazing what you can do. It's sort of giving back, being able to
yeah,
give back in a very intentional way, but sort of, I don't know, I guess beautiful way, just
yeah.
loving every
Paying it
kid,
forward. It's like
paying it forward. Yep.
that's the mission of this project. Is like I actually think this whole thing is a thank you letter to teachers, not just mine, but everyone that's going to be a part of it. Because I
Yeah.
think teachers are doing God's work, truly. Because I
No.
think education has been instrumental in my life, and I know I would not be having this conversation with you now had I not been given the opportunities and the gifts that I was given.
Oh, for sure.
So
I mean,
that's like
yeah,
the reality. And I also had the experience at Richmond, seeing the inner city and being involved in the community and volunteering at these like after school programs that were I got exposed to for months at a time, that some of the things you're talking about, nowhere near the extent that you have, because it was kind of like a fixed 2.5 hour thing or whatever on some
yep.
day in the week, but that I learned all these things that they were trying to do, which included, for example, like having a safe place to like even be
Oh
after
yeah. I mean,
school.
yeah. I mean
Like
that's
respect, learning respect, believing in
yeah.
yourself, like these
It's
little things.
it's
Well, they're
teaching,
not little. Sorry, they're not little things, but
not
they
little, but
things
it's
that kids
building
need to know.
character. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
building
they need
character.
and someone to believe in them and sit with them one on
Yeah.
one. Like so all that stuff, and it really never. It always rub like didn't sit well with me that I would drop in is better than nothing, I would say, but I didn't like the fact that like 10 miles away is the number one most beautiful college in the country. It was ranked that last year, and it's been in the past. So
Yeah.
it's a country club school. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Tom calls it a luxury brand, and he's right. But there's a lot of good stuff there, and that the better educational institutions like Richmond, in my opinion,
Yeah.
know they have responsibility to the city.
Yeah. They do.
They anchor the city, and they know that.
Absolutely.
So like the
Yep.
programming around leadership schools, like they don't take tobacco money. They don't
No.
take, yeah, like, so like they have principles around a lot of
Yep.
it,
Yep.
but I still think it's like, we got to step up. Like they have a program, they have some great programs. Like if you're from Virginia and you parents make less than, I want to say 150,000, you get a full scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of those education and pathway programs that are, well, they have to, because otherwise nobody would be able to do it. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, the sticker price is what, $70,000, 75.
yeah, yeah.
It's just outrageous.
Yeah, yeah.
And even if you're in the upper middle class, it's still it's a hit, right? It's like that is
I mean,
if
me too.
you're paying
Same
sticker
time.
price. It's like,
I'm like, check, we finally got
yeah.
through that. So we're like, woohoo. I mean, feel like I feel like a millionaire compared to like
Ah!
5 years ago. I'm like, wow, it's amazing,
So I love that, and well, I empathize with it because I can't I really I don't have kids yet, but I know I want to give them a lot of the good things that I was given ideally, but I know it's not without its costs and consequences and all that stuff. So there's a real sacrifice there, but the thing that I think you'll like this idea. I wouldn't at all be surprised if you already think of it this way, but I think education is the ultimate asset, other than health. Health is the right next to it. For me, my values are health, relationships, and like then is like personal growth or something. And so it's like your education is not, it doesn't end when you graduate.
Nope.
It doesn't end after second grade or eighth grade or 10th grade or 11th grade. I'm constantly trying to learn, and that I realized I have this like chat about how you can actually learn. Well, I'm going to develop it maybe into a lecture of some kind, but basically you can, if you think about education, if we're going to think about it in financial terms, as a former CFO that spent time on Wall Street and stuff, it's like you have assets and liabilities and equity. Every balance sheet, like if you're a school, corporation, nonprofit, you have assets that includes things like cash, property and equipment, receivables. Those are your
Right.
assets, right? IP, intellectual property. Um, so that's one side. To make those assets, you need capital, and capital can come from sweat equity as well, but it
Right.
also comes from actual capital. And so in the case of school, I think a lot of people get the way they think about it is distorted because you're only focused, and many people, certainly the people cutting the check, are the ones focused on the liability side because now you have a student debt or you have someone's out of pocket 100 grand or 500 grand or whatever, and it's a huge sum. But then to get the balance sheet in balance, so you have $100, let's say, of assets. Oh, sorry, let's say you have $100 in student debt or 100,000, let's say.
Yeah.
So now, to get your balance sheet in balance, you either have to increase your assets by at least 100,000, and
Right.
I'm going to argue it's more,
Yeah.
or you take it out of equity so that it's like 100,000 loan and then negative equity. And so, if someone's going to try to argue that you have a negative equity effect from education, I'm going to beg to differ
Oh
because you
yeah.
don't. You have an asset that's worth infinite amount, however long and however,
I mean, I'll
as
just
long as you're willing to learn. And there are people that get degrees in their 70s and 80s, which is amazing. It's like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger talk about this. They, like I know they're in the financial services, so it's not always the best example, but they're like, Warren Buffett says the most valuable investment he ever made was taking a public speaking class, a Dale Carnegie class. So you're talking about one of the most wealthy, storied investors of all time. Pretty much anyone ever will admit he's remarkable. And yet he says maybe a $500 class, Dale Carnegie's public speaking thing was the thing that changed it all. What's that about? Well, it's about leadership. It's about education. It's about trying new things and doing the improv and taking the tennis lesson or whatever. So I have a lot to say on that because I think that this isn't just like an academic exercise I'm kind of attempting to explain. I actually think it needs to go to the tax code as well. So you should be able to write off your education expenses against your income, like over time. So if you've got your parents paid,
yeah, 100,000.
let's say you have 100,000 in debt, you should be able to take out of your income every year some piece of that debt, like corporations do, because when they invest in property and equipment or IP or whatever else, they expense it and they get the benefit on the tax side where their tax bill goes down, down, down. But if you're coming out of school and you're getting your feet on, getting yourself situated with the first time earning a salary and getting things going and building your retirement and whatever else, you should have the same benefits as them. I mean, why people who are taking student loans should be very aware and up to speed on how all of that works and that they could advocate for that kind of change because it would really help.
All I can tell you is the kids, and of course, I'm working with middle school kids or elementary kids and high school kids, and my whole mission with them is just to understand how important education is. And I always tell them, I'm like, listen, education is your superpower, right? That's
It is.
That's going to get you where you want to go. And you don't have education, you're not going to get to where you want to go.
Wherever that is too, right?
Whatever it is, whatever it might be, cosmetology, who knows, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
That really is their superpower, and it's important. I think that's one of the most important things, especially in urban education, that you focus on that. It's a priority.
Yeah. And I think one of the big topics that I want to be focusing a lot of, certainly our conversation, because it's obviously very obvious that we'll talk a lot about education. But the mission of the project is to kind of get these quiet leaders to kind of collaborate and figure out ways to like put down the drawbridge and fix a lot of things that are not working. So it's like Harvard does not need another.
That's amazing.
We keep saying all this stuff. It's like Harvard. I've said this in a bunch of chats with people recently, and Tom was the one who first said it because he's right. Harvard does not need another $100 million.
Right.
Trent, New Jersey needs $100 million. Inner city Boston needs $100 million.
Where it is. I mean,
Native Americans need $100 million.
yeah, absolutely.
African Americans need $500 billion
Right.
in every city in the country. So I care a lot about this stuff because it's like the quote that comes to mind that is also inspired, and I think it dovetails with everything I'm saying is, he too much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
You have to, like everyone helped me up the way. So who am I to like not continue, pay forward?
I think one of the questions you put in here was like, what's your mantra, or I forget what you.
Principles, values, motto.
Yeah, we have this thing. I'll have to take a picture of it and send it to you. I have these two, I'm big into those little boards, like you can create your own sayings and
Oh, cool. Yeah.
and like, can you see? I have the hashtag empty nesters on the wall up there.
Oh,
And I
that's
have all these, like,
incredible.
I give them to Christmas. Yeah, it's Christmas present.
I
Anyway,
love that one.
isn't that funny? I did a board, and this was it's a long story, but anyway, a friend of ours was killed in action over in Afghanistan, and he had this mantra that he used to say, "Can I do more? Can I do better? Can I make a difference?" And so I have that hanging at the door when you walk in, and it's like I always kind of go back to that, like, can I do more? What can I do? What should I do? Can I do better? How am I going to make a difference? And so I feel like that has sort of guided me along the way. I can't believe that he's been gone almost 20 years now, but
What was his name?
Lieutenant David Conley, who was killed in action. But Paul's family grew up with their family, and so we were all they all went to school together. Blah, blah, blah. It was very sad. But yeah, it's just and so now there's like a foundation and they do all this great stuff. But I love that. I love that, and so
Yeah, that's so good. I haven't heard that and I really like it.
yeah, I think
And
it's
by the way, on the podcast, you can promote like that charity, for example. Obviously,
really?
there might be a number of things you want to promote, and I'm gonna make sure we have time to do that.
Yeah.
Like at the end, it'll be like, how can you contact Mary Fran? How can you? What kind of organizations do you support?
Yeah.
What's her routing number for her checking account to send her a check? You might get some donations. I would not be surprised, and maybe that would be kind of fun.
That's my
not that you need donations, but it's more of a unexpected gifts that I think the universe may well deliver some fun things that I think it's already happening through this project is sort of like in the very early days, but it's already happening. I just got off like 3 calls that were each one incredible. I was like, this thing's going to take off.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I'm excited for you. And so I did think about if you want more, like the woman who actually I ended up teaching with her. She's Black. We started teaching the same day in Boston Public Schools, and
oh, amazing.
She was like a Metco kid, so she grew up in Boston, but went to school out in the suburbs. That whole thing. Went to Boston College, got into Boston College. Became a teacher. And so we started, she was a brand new teacher. And of course I was coming in 10 years later. So she's 10 years behind me. We taught together for a while. Then she left, she went back to school, and she ended up, she's the assistant dean now, one of the assistant deans in the Lynch School of Education at Boston College. And she runs and directs like the diversity equity program over there.
Love that.
Cool lady, and
I would love to chat
ended up being assistant principals the same year. So she's just a great leader, and she's funny as hell, and she's amazing. And I was like, oh, she would be a good person for this because she's got a lot to say and different perspectives.
Yeah, I would 100% like to meet with her. I will say it probably it probably will make sense for me to get a couple things organized in terms of like the like intake or like however you want to do it, even if you just wanted to not share anything other than maybe have a call with this guy, that works too. But I need that questionnaire I got to clean up. I have to I'm bringing in my Hollywood contacts. So did I share with you the hero video?
No. Oh, I saw it in your thing. It says click. I haven't clicked on that one yet.
Oh, okay, I'll share my screen real quick because it's fun.
Yeah,
it's really quick.
I don't know if I've seen. I saw the intro one.
Okay.
What I wrote. No, I didn't see that though. The Tucker thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This kid Tucker is unbelievable. He's really a remarkable kid. you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, so I got the new Vision Pro I was showing you.
Yeah, we were looking at that. I was showing Paul. He's like,
It's so amazing. It's so amazing. I wasn't planning to buy it, and I bought it on impulse, and I love it. So this video is just me demoing it, but there's a point to this, which is like I'm going to show you the hero video one of my Hollywood director friends has made. Like he made it one night, and this is just V1. So it's me messing around with the I'm outside. Yeah, we'll just watch it real quick.
So you have the thing on, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I have the thing on.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm throwing around these screens in the front yard, messing around with it. It's so cool. You could do this in your office. I could have like 5 screens, like sports here, Excel here, email, like social media. It's so fun. So I'm like making it lighter. I'll fast forward a little bit. So now I think I play.
Oh, this is what I did see this.
You did see this?
Yeah, the little video. I was clicking around, and Paul and I were like, well, let me see. Yes, with all these people. It's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
It is amazing.
My friend made that one day, and I have like a friend who he's like a music producer. He's gonna make custom music. Like this thing is gonna be incredible.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning. There's some stuff we're working on that's gonna be.
So are you like in the infancy kind of stages of this whole thing, or where are you in the?
Yeah, and it's I have to be. So like it's definitely the early stages. I'm in the kind of what I like to say is like bringing people under the kimono, so I get feedback, get insight. So I'm like refining, getting these different things. For example, the questionnaire being too long.
Yep.
People, the recordings going forward are going to be like 4K HD in a studio. So like we'll get the sound right. We're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
The first one of like with my director and his team and whatnot is going to be this weekend with a nonprofit leader, Georgie's uncle. He's awesome. Yeah. He runs a teen cancer charity. So like all these stories are going to be so awesome, and it's gonna wait till you hear about. I don't know if I want to. What I will say is the thing I have in mind for the platform that this could be is going to be unbelievable. That's why I was saying maybe wait to send like the link, because I'm going to make a link.
I just wanted to tell you, like if you think, if you want more people, I'll be happy to.
Yeah, no, I would love to chat with her. And frankly, honestly, it might even be good to do that soon, like before I know whatever her schedule is in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. One thing I learned with startups is don't be precious about things being perfect. Like just get moving.
Just through it, yeah.
So I'm kind of doing that, but yeah, it's early days.
It's awesome.
The pieces, like I have a national correspondent for CBS involved. He's like he does national stories, and he's like loves it. Like I think some of these stories are going to be on 60 Minutes. Like that's a goal. There's another goal. Check this out. So as the tentacles go around the world for this movement, because it will, at some point when people believe it's all real and the content is really great and everything is very, very well done, I'm going to basically introduce to the community that we'll have an online space. I'm going to create like a 3D kind of environment where you can like have an avatar and have an impromptu conversation with someone. But then you could both give the thumbs up and then immediately go to a video like this. Like there are ways you could do that now. And then also auto match people based on their interests and needs and willingness to help. Some people might want to invest money. Some people might need resources for a charity or a grant or whatever. And that there's an app that does this automatically, so that both sides have to opt in, because you don't want people spamming. And here's the thing, people aren't going to spam because the character thing is there.
Right.
So, but if it's like kind of like a dating app, swipe right, swipe left. This person looks interesting. I would love to learn about them because maybe I can help them in some way. And then if you both sides swipe right, it auto schedules on both people's calendar a 30-minute meeting. So it's just, you could introduce each other. I just got off 2 of them earlier today. I just met an unbelievable guy, like an unbelievable guy. And you'll love this quick anecdote. Last week, one of those random meetings, I met a woman that's told me, shared with me maybe 30 minutes in, her family dates back to the Mayflower.
Oh, jeez.
Her father, her great-great-grandfather, whatever, was supposed to be the president of Harvard. And he
Wow.
was caught up in the Salem witch trials. And he became scarlet lettered or whatever. And so he didn't get the job. And so guess what he did?
I don't know. What would you farm? I don't know. What do you do back then? I don't know.
If you're pretty pissed off, you might consider doing what he did, which is he convinced a number of his closest colleagues to found Yale.
Oh, you're shitting me. So he's
Isn't
what
that, yeah, yeah. And that
Wow.
all connects because of it. I don't know if I shared with you this. Remember, I actually wanted to go to BC. I think that was my number one
Yeah, I
choice.
do. I remember you there, right?
You were supposed to pull strings, and I
I
don't
know,
know.
we did, and that didn't work out so well, but
It
I guess
didn't,
in the end.
but it kind of didn't. But there's this thing that I want to show you and see if I can find it. So I was telling, I think Tucker or someone else recently that my academic career was good. Like I was a good student and all that, but it was a little bit lopsided because it was like if it was a subject I was interested in, top of the
Yeah, I
class.
loved it. Yeah.
But if it wasn't like hard sciences, it was like, why the hell am I? Like
Yeah.
I'm just not into it. So anyway, one of the things I did was there's this year-long research project you do at the gunnery.
Yeah.
That results in it's a paper. So it's like the big project of going to the gunnery, like academic stuff. And so I was like, I need to leverage this paper that I wrote. I won the award for the class. So like the best paper, and they had like college professors, whatever, assess it. And so I was like, I'm going to send this to colleges. And I sent it to BC, and I found these graduate school professors.
Right.
Dr. David Quigley, Director of Graduate Studies, History Department, Boston College.
Patrick, that's so funny. Oh my
I
God.
have the originals too. So I'll read it.
Love it. Did they write back?
Oh yeah. They wrote back, and I want to talk to them if they're alive. If they are alive, because I actually looked up. I'm gonna reach out, and if there's any way that you can help grease the wheels on any of that, or your colleague,
That's so funny.
No, but it's better. There's a reason why I'm telling you this. So aside from, I know how much you love Boston College. So there's one there. Hold on. So I'm gonna read them because I think they actually connect on some of the things we're talking about.
That is
like I have like my go-kart photos and stuff.
Oh.
This is my power book. I think this is an exercise you could maybe bring to your school at some point. When I was rebuilding myself after my last start, I filled this binder full of everything I'm proud of and that people wrote about me, and I'm sure I have screenshots from you somewhere. Actually, I do. After my podcast with Ben on Chronify, you reached out and you were like, I want to share this with my colleagues. Keep inspiring us, Patrick. And I think about that a lot.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
That's amazing.
Newspaper clippings, AP Scholar, whatever, the whole thing.
Oh my God.
It's so fun. It's so fun. So, going through my thing here. So I've got the first one here, and I'll read it to you. So Dr. David Quigley, thanks for the email, Patrick, and for sending along your terrific piece on Whitman and Brady. So it was Walt Whitman and Matthew Brady, the photographer. Matthew Brady being the photographer during the Civil War, and I was writing about how they used photography and also poetry to influence the like in a way the photograph was used for propaganda partially, but that it also showed the truth, and that they could manipulate the photo to show actually what was really going on rather than what like the New York Times would write or something. And Walt Whitman would go down to the Richmond, Virginia, and like meet the Union soldiers, and not so sure if there were any Confederate soldiers he met, but certainly Union ones. And he wrote these poems and essays about that experience, which are very moving. So he goes, the topic is one of my favorites, and you handle it quite well. Best of luck in the application process this year. Please let me know if you have any questions about Boston College. Perhaps we'll run into each other at some point. We're gonna run into each other.
You're gonna run into that guy. You got to find out.
So the next one I think is even better. I think. I have the original here. Let me see. My power book is falling apart here. Bear with me. Hold on. Yeah, this exercise, it's awesome. Maybe Carmen and Paul should do it.
That is a good, that is Carmen of course will do it because she's like totally into self, like she thinks she does all that stuff. She's very like thoughtful about each journey of her, leg of her journey, I guess.
I love that. I'm happy to coach her anytime for free. Like,
Yeah, yeah, she's
seriously,
good. Yeah,
tell her to reach out anytime.
I will.
I have like yearbook things in here. Okay, so I'm gonna read what I have because for some reason I can't find the back of it, but the back is important. But I basically memorized it, so I'll read the first part. So he goes, "Dear Patrick, this is August 8th, 2005. Thanks for sending me a copy of your junior research paper on Whitman and Brady. I'll look forward to reading it. When I can carve out some time to do that. The topic is a significant one with interesting implications for contemporary events, and to judge by your works cited list, you've qualified yourself of some good secondary sources, especially the Ed Folsom," and he goes, parentheses, that's Folsom with an M, because I misspelled it. I had it with an N, Folsom.
So he obviously looked at it.
Before AI, like he's paying attention. It's great.
Yeah.
He goes, you seem well poised, I must say, to take on college level reading and research right now, and your chances of getting admissions to Boston College strike me as excellent. But why stop there? And this is the part I'm going to say from memory because I can't find the back of it. But it was students of your talent and ambition should consider different schools that are further along or further or farther away geographically, if not intellectually or something like that. And he goes, students of your caliber should be looking at Brown and Yale.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm telling this story is I didn't get into Boston College.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
So the thing about it is the reason why it's important is if Boston College was not willing to look at actually the student and just instead look at the SATs, or like my SATs are fine, but like they weren't 1600, which is probably 2/3 of the people who apply there have something close to that. So for someone who took the time to read something someone has written, can you imagine, like, and I'm coming from privilege.
Right.
Like I'm coming
from there's no place better than what you've had, like, to push you into that.
I went to the Harry Potter school, which, by the way, this is important. I met some people that know the school's history better than I do, and I was chatting with them, and they shared with me something I think I knew sort of, but they reaffirmed it, which is Gunnery's been around for 175 years.
Mm-hmm.
In the early 20th century and mid 20th century, if you went to the Gunnery and you wanted to go to Yale, the head of school at the Gunnery would call the president of Yale, and you'd be a shoo-in. Over a third, maybe 40% of students from Gunnery went to Yale.
Jesus.
And so I was thinking, like, not only can they not do that, I don't think they could do that now. Because, but this is the thing about the prep schools, is that they did do that for a long time. And it's not just the Gunnery, it's Taft, it's Hotchkiss, it's Choate, it's and Exeter and Andover and St. Paul's and the whole lot. They're all doing it. And so the thing is like, when you realize then that the money comes from the power influences the school and the students go to the Ivy Leagues and the elite liberal arts schools and whatever, the states, there's some terrific state schools. And then that becomes then part of the system, and it's all kind of nepotistic. It's like, we all know the story of, like, you graduated from Harvard or Williams and you want your kid to go there. It's very helpful for you to be an alum that gives some money.
Right.
So and that was the college admissions scandal from 5 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's like, this stuff is insane.
Those are amazing. Like, that's amazing. You
Isn't
really,
that wild?
really need to walk into the admissions office and just drop that on their lap. Just say it. I didn't go to BC.
Like, look at me now. Can we do that together? I'm serious. I actually think that would make for a very fun. I want to talk to the director of admissions and pull up my file. Have a look. And he'll be like, you weren't so good at biology or something. And I'm like, well, it was freaking hard. It was AP. Okay. Like, let it go. Okay. So yeah, go ahead. I know we're running up on time.
No, that's right. What else? Tell me what your next steps are, or what.
Yeah. So first next step is sending this Frank into you. But second next step is, do we have a time scheduled yet? I guess we probably don't, right?
No.
Because if I'm going to come out there, which I want to, it might be like a June type thing, or when would be good for you?
whatever your time. I mean, I'm here. We're in school until June 21st, maybe something like
Okay.
that. That might be the last day of school. I don't know. Maybe I could go out there. I hadn't even thought about it, but that's
I kind of want to do it on my guest turf as much as possible.
yeah.
Because I actually think I want to show your school and
Yeah.
maybe
Oh my
even
God.
when you're in school, because I know the end of the school year is probably crazy, but it's also probably kind of fun.
It's
The last few days leading up to summer is like very fun.
oh yeah. It's just
Hopefully it's not stressful for everyone, but it's fun.
no, it is. Yeah. So let me know. You let me know what works for you. I mean, we're gonna be there. So I'm
Cool.
here. Going
Amazing.
anywhere. The I don't know, your dad told you. My dad and I are my dad's taking the three of us to Italy. We're going to Milan in April.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I studied abroad in Milan.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I went to Università Bocconi.
Oh my God.
It's like the business school in Milan.
Oh, I forgot about that. Jeez, Patrick, we're so excited. Like,
That is
we,
so fun. You're gonna have the best time.
yep, we leave. It's Saturday to Saturday. We're gonna be in Milan for 3 nights. We're going to La Scala. He wanted to go to the opera. And then we've got 3 days out in Lake Como. Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
So it should be really fun.
That is going to be incredible. I can send you like all the best of, like, if you want, like I can send like um the best things to try to do, certainly in Milan, but also like take a train to Cinque Terre.
Yeah,
Terre.
Chicken
Oh,
is there too. Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
don't know how much. I mean, a lot of we're trying. We haven't like I've never been to the Duomo, like stuff like that. So we're
Almost
trying,
cool, yeah.
get all
You're gonna
that.
love it. It's a vibe. It's fun. It's
Yeah,
really fun.
yeah. And of course, the three of us are like, we want to shop too. So yeah, it's a quick trip, but it should be fun. So we have
Bring
that
your
coming.
credit card because
I
the
know.
shopping there is next level. I mean,
I know.
that's where the Gucci and the Prada and the headquarters of everything is there.
Yeah. So we got that, and then that's it. We have some little trips. Paul and I, yeah, we don't really have our big trip planned yet for the end of we'll probably be the end of the summer anyway.
Cool.
So that's
All
it.
right.
But
So yeah, let's follow up on logistics. I'll follow up on some dates, and actually, maybe it's better if you tell me some dates because that way I can work into it. I'm more flexibility probably.
yeah,
So
I'll tell you the only thing. I mean, yeah, they're really in June. If June was a target month, I'll give you like I'll look. Let me look at the school calendar or whatever. If there's some bad
yeah,
dates.
it doesn't have to be a weekend. Obviously, it could be Tuesday or Wednesday or Friday or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
we'll stay. If
You know what you should
Georgie and
do is
I can stay nearby you or with you or whatever, and
well, yeah. We the house is empty. We had
empty nesters. Hashtag empty nest.
hashtag investors. No, if you came out, like if you could come out on a Wednesday or something like that, at least then you'd have the weekend and you could
Yeah.
get
Go to
around.
BC, and we got to get to BC, and I'm gonna I'm gonna make a statement with this, and I also I want to speak to those professors who actually were
It'd be fun
so
to find
inspiring.
them.
That always stuck in my head. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I was
you
like, I go into
should.
this whole big rant about it's like, if you want to assess someone like me and my abilities, look at my writing. Just look at my
Yeah,
writing, and then let's have a conversation.
yeah.
I like to think, or have a
Uh,
conversation with me, and then we'll go do it that way.
no, you really should. Let me look at the calendar, see if there's any bad weekends or whatever. But it would be fun to do that because I think then you could kind of tool around Boston or
Yeah, I would love that. Georgie really wants to hang out in Boston. So do I. I mean, it's been too
yeah,
long.
and you go down to Connecticut or do whatever. I'm sure. Obviously, my dad, Martha's here, Jenny, come. We could
Yeah,
figure
yeah, we'll get the whole gang.
just
And the
out.
kids, Paul and Carmen are around.
Carmen are here. Well, Carmen's in New York now, but where is Sarah really going? Because I do need to give her a call.
Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe you got to give her a call. I have been sent her resume that is I need to review, but she's interviewing a bunch of places. She had an interview today. I
Yeah,
think she's that's something coming, and I think she should.
yeah, okay.
I
I
do.
wasn't like I was trying to read what we talked. I don't know last week or something. And I was like, does she really want to come? Does she not want to come? I couldn't get a vibe on it.
Come to your place.
No, to go out to sorry to LA or go out to California if she was really going to do it. I'm like, are you really
Yeah,
doing
no,
it?
I've been egging her on because I think it'd be great for her. I really do. California's awesome. It'll be change of scenery. She's always been New England. Um, you know, I am, and we all are basically saying, make sure you set your foundation kind of separate and apart from other people that she's here to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you catch my drift.
Yeah.
But I think so long as she does that, that's what I did. I loaded up my mom's Suburban and drove out to LA 3 days, and it was so fun. It was like none of this would be happening if I didn't do that. So
No, yeah, no. I think I'm happy for her. I just, want to make sure she's doing it for the right reasons, I guess.
yeah, totally. I think I mean, she's focused on getting a job. She's going to need a job to certainly live here, to pay for, it's expensive. So,
Yeah.
but she knows that. But in any case, so fun chatting.
Yeah, this
Paul and Carmen and Paul Jr. and everyone, my best. Your family.
I'll tell my dad too to kind of reconsider. I'll see if he'll.
Should I text the group chain right now with this link?
Yeah, like, just had an amazing chat with him.
Yeah. Okay, well, all right, Frank, we're coming.
All right, so we'll talk soon. Give Georgie my love, and I hope to connect soon. And I'll do this little activity thing.
All right, don't feel overwhelmed. Just take it as a